We start in Nigeria. The judicial panel investigating alleged police brutality and the shooting of protesters in Lagos convened on Monday, promising neutrality and justice. Independent investigations into police abuses were a core demand of the protesters who've been demonstrating nationwide for more than 2 weeks. Chairperson of the panel, Justice Doris Okowobi, says the panel will operate independently from government and ensure justice for the victims and their families. The panel's formal proceedings started today. Protest leaders say witnesses fear government retribution if they speak out about alleged incidents, though. All right, so this is the panel investigating police brutality in Nigeria and the recent shooting of unarmed protesters in Lagos. You'll recall exactly a week ago, witnesses and rights groups said that soldiers opened fire on demonstrators gathered at a toll gate in Lekki in Lagos. Amnesty International said 12 people were killed by soldiers and police, but the military has denied involvement. The demonstrations began on the 7th of October. Protesters calling for an end to a police unit, the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, or SARS, accused of human rights violations. The president said the unit had been dissolved, but skeptical protesters remained on the streets. This week, Nigeria's chief of police ordered the mobilisation of all police resources to end the days of street violence. To discuss, we're joined now by the chairman of the All Progressive Congress, the SA chapter, Bola Babarinde. Mr. Babarinde, thank you for being with us. Let's just be clear, the All Progressive Congress is the party of the Nigerian president, Muhammadu Buhari, and the governing party in Nigeria. How would you rate the handling of this crisis by your president?
I'm the chairman of APC in South Africa. Currently, I'm in Nigeria, and I'm aware of the things that are happening in Nigeria. Yes, last week we even wrote a press release that we actually rebook our government in the way it was handled. But things that have never happened before, maybe the government are taking people for granted for some time, and that's why when this crisis came, they never expected it to be like that. And initially, when it started, it was a peaceful protest that no one thought that it can escalate to the banditry that we saw.
Mr. Babarinde, the reason I'm asking is because President Muhammadu Buhari took a very long time to talk to the nation in person, and we took that live. Then he spoke about law and order. That was towards the end of last week. He didn't talk about the claims of human rights abuses committed by the authorities. Some would say he seemed completely out of touch with his people and with his nation.
Yeah, many people said it, but we know our president is always taking his time before he responds to issue. Most of the time, it is the vice president that will come out first, state the position of the government. Then thereafter, when all the points have been taken to him, he always takes his time to study before he put up his own argument. He doesn't want to make mistake. He is claiming, he was a former military general, and when he came in, they said he's a dictator. So he always wants to be a democratic president. It takes time before he responds. I think that was the reason, but that's not an excuse, because we also, rebook him for taking too long and never mentioned the incident at Lekki as part of his, nationwide address.
All right, so you believed he should have addressed that violence head on. The question now is, will this judicial commission have space to move and space to get to the truth of what is happening in Nigeria? You've touched on it. It's a former military state. You have the army denying involvement. Will the commission be able to really get to the bottom of matters?
Yes. So people even ask that, do we expect the protester to believe in establishment of judicial commission of inquiry? We will never expect them to really support it wholeheartedly. But the only way the judicial inquiry can be supported is the composition of the committee. in charge, the judicial committee in charge, and that is exactly what Lagos State has done under the governor Sanwo-Olu, Jide Sanwo-Olu. He made sure that the composition involved the youth, the judiciary, the NGOs, the stakeholder that matters in this particular incident. So he makes sure that the composition is very, very encompassing, that involve the stakeholders. And we believe that the youth will find it worthy to participate because part of their own people are actually involved in this thing. Now, you should remember that the incident, EndSARS means End Special Anti-Robbery Squad. This squad was actually established for armed robbery, to counter armed robbery in the state. But unfortunately, maybe because of leadership or complacent, they turned to something worse than the armed robbery. I am also a part of the victim, But at the end of the day, what we are seeing now is far more than EndSARS. They are now showing so many faults in the government of the day. But as the chieftain of APC, one way or the other, I try to persuade the people, about what the government is doing. Remember, the PDP government was there for almost 16 years, and there was a lot of rot in the system. Yeah. But I blame our present government.
Well, can I interject there? Can I interject, because you're talking about this unit that everybody's upset about, the SARS policing unit, and a lot of people don't believe that President Buhari has disbanded the unit, even though he says he has. They say that's happened many times before, and the same members always land up on the streets abusing Nigerian citizens. Do you believe Nigerians should believe him this time around?
Yes, I think Nigeria should believe him. He wouldn't play game at this time, and this government shouldn't play such a game at this time. And I know they have been disbanded, but the other thing is that they said they disbanded SARS. Now they want to bring up SWAT. Maybe that's another name for special unit. And people are saying that they shouldn't be in a rush, to establish SWAT. But another set of people are saying it is necessary because there shouldn't be a vacuum in fighting security. Security agency must be in place. Yeah. Now, what is happening is that they already disbanded SARS, and they are undergoing psychological tests and medical tests of the fitness for them to redeploy back to the police service or any other security agency, but definitely not special force anymore. Because if you say all of them are bad, it's not possible that all of them are bad. Even if it's 20% that are good, those 20%. Yeah.
It sounds like, as a member of the South African chapter, you are willing to evaluate your own party in your own country and even be critical on some aspects. Finally, can there some uprising that has brought together Nigerians from many different parts and different backgrounds, can it change the course of your country, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. And we are it's unfortunate that we in politics, we in government, sometimes we tend to forget the history of our nation. The way the Nigerian state from 1999, we are not supposed to be at this level. You can see a lot of Nigerians outside the country. Most of them are not interested to go out. For example, I came to South Africa in the year 2020. 2000, and now I'm 20 years in South Africa. I'm an engineer, qualified, but because of the politics, because of the economy of the country, most of us went out on economic asylum, not political asylum. But unfortunately, what happened to us in the past, and we are unable to correct our own generation. But this youth, they made up their mind that they are going to fight the status quo. The status quo is that the government is not taking charge, not taking consideration for the youth. The government is not providing for them. A lot of youth went to the university, no job. But this definitely is going to change the status quo. And
All
I
right,
believe
so maybe the voices of young people will be heard. We have to stop it there, but I really appreciate your time tonight. Thank you very much. That was the chairman of the All Progressive Congress, the South African chapter, Bola Babarinde.